Before we begin our lecture 3.5, there are some prerequisites which we need to discuss. First of all, we should know what is a vector. Vector is different from images we see in our daily life. What we see in our daily life are bitmap images. They have pixelated structure, as shown by this image. Images split up into box-like structures when we zoom them to a very high scale, as you can see by the borderline of this ball. Whereas a vector image keeps its structure because it follows a mathematical equation to structure itself. So as a result, there is no gap between the edges like in this image. So what we see is a smooth line as shown by this image. The difference can also be seen in this image and in this image. Vector images are actually needed to express our needs more openly. So firms create their own vectors according to their needs and use them accordingly. They may include them in PowerPoint presentations, in their signboards, in their brochures, anywhere they want. This is because they can be scaled up or scaled down to any value without being broken into edges, like in bitmap images. However, vector images cannot be directly included in PowerPoint. But there is a way to include vector images in our PowerPoint presentations. Although this method has some restrictions regarding the complexity of image, but we will discuss this method to the fullest. So no worries. It does not matter if you do not know how to create vectors. We will sort an efficient way to do that. For this, we will go to freepik.com, write down our search word and click on search. What we see as a result is a great collection of vector images according to our search word. We'll open our image. For instance, we have opened this image and this image. In order to download this image, we'll click on this green button. Upon click, it takes us to this page and starts our download automatically. In case our download does not start automatically, we can click on this button. Since we are downloading this image free of cost, we have to stick to the website's download policy. If we are using this vector image in our website, we have to use this link in our website in order to attribute the developer. Similarly, for the second image, we'll click on this green button, which takes us to this page and downloads our images. These two images have been included in your lecture folder and have been extracted. If we go to the lecture folder and then go to the files folder, for instance, we'll open image 1. This is the image zip file which was downloaded from the website. Upon extraction, it extracted to these 5 files. This file includes the links and details of the fonts used in this image. This includes the license document. This is the JPEG image of our vector, which shows what our vector actually includes and in what arrangement. Then it is the .ai file. This is the actual illustration file, which contains the vector information and other details related to the image. .ai means that this vector was created in illustration softwares like Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW. Then it is the .eps file. EPS stands for Encapsulated PostScript. In easy language, this means that this file contains the bitmap image of the vector which is contained in the .ai file. PowerPoint does not support .eps file or .ai file. We have other formats which are accepted by Microsoft Office in all its products, for example Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint. The file format which is acceptable in Microsoft Office is .emf file. EMF stands for Enhanced Meta File. Microsoft Office also accepts .wmf file. I know things have become very complex right now, but believe me, they will be much easier in just a few minutes. So I was saying The .emf file stands for Enhanced Meta File. This file format is acceptable by Microsoft PowerPoint. Vector images contained in .eps file are converted into .emf file. But there are some middle steps and they are very easy. The software which works best for this purpose is again Adobe Illustrator. You can find a trial version of this software from the website of adobe.com. I have given you links for downloading the trial versions and any instructions required for the installation. I have opened the links contained in these files in my browser. If we go to those web pages, by following the first step, if we open this link in a new tab, we are taken to this page and we'll click on this button and follow the rest of the easy steps on the instructions page which we saw at first. We can download the Adobe Illustrator trial version for free. I have already installed Adobe Illustrator. You can now pause the video and carry on after you install Adobe Illustrator. I'll see you in a few moments. You can open Adobe Illustrator by searching for it in this search bar and writing down Illustrator and single click it. What opens before you is the basic structure of Adobe Illustrator. It is the most popular and most powerful tool in the development of vectors. Just as a basic learner, we'll discover the interface in easy language. The toolbar you see on the left actually presents the toolset of Adobe Illustrator. On the right, there are few panels which deal with colors, gradients, the thickness of the pen, and the transparency of your image. There are other options like layers and artboards. Layers actually deals with how many layers a vector image has. To keep things simple and avoid complexity, some parts of the images can appear on one layer while the others on the other layers. Artboards, as its name suggests, is actually what we draw on. It is the white structure which we will be seeing in a few moments, upon which we will draw or insert our image and edit it. Now remember, we'll only be seeing the things we need for the purpose we came here to the Illustrator. We'll only see how we can convert our image to .emf file. We'll open a new document by going to the file and clicking on new, typing in a name for our document. You might have something different in the size. You can toggle between the options by clicking on this and selecting your option. For instance, we'll go with B4, that is, our artboard will be of B4 size. We'll be editing the size of our artboard shortly. Now we'll click on OK. Now this white document is our artboard. We can edit its size by clicking on artboard option and change its size. Now we'll click on selection tool to go out of the artboard option, and our artboard has been changed. As I previously told you that including vectors in PowerPoint has some restrictions. The restrictions are the vector image should be of plain figures. There should not be any complexity. The vector images which we have in our lecture folders can serve an example. For instance, I'll open an image from my desktop. This image is actually very complex. When this was converted to .emf file and included in PowerPoint, it looked like this, but when we tried to ungroup it, the image was distorted. and destroyed. So, in order to include a vector in PowerPoint, the vector must be simple and should contain plain figures. Now we will carry on with our regular practice and try to understand how can we convert a plain vector image to a .emf file which can then be included in PowerPoint. This includes simple steps. We'll go to File, click on Open, and then go to our Course Files folder, then Section 3 folder, then this folder, then Files folder, go to our Images folder, and open the .eps file, not the .ai file. We'll open the .eps file, click on Open, then click on Open. We can decrease the size of the document by typing here 30%. We can scroll right and then increase the percentage of zoom to 70%. This is the vector file which we want to include in our PowerPoint and then edit it. In the second step, which will be our last step in the process, we'll go to the file and click on Export. From this, we'll select the .emf file, which is enhanced meta file. Since we already have converted this vector image to .emf file, it is showing us that document. For instance, we'll type in a different name and click on Export. And we are done. Our vector image has been converted to .emf file and is ready to be included in our PowerPoint. The advantage of converting a vector image to .emf file is that we are able to edit the size and the color of the components of the vector just like we can do in Adobe Illustrator. Now we'll go to our PowerPoint presentation of this lecture. Change the layout to blank. Go to Insert, then go to Pictures, and then go to our lecture folder. And click on our just converted .emf file of the vector. But first you need to see that the picture option enables us to include .emf file, .wmf, followed by other images extensions which we can see in this list. Now we'll click on Insert. This inserts our .emf file in our PowerPoint. Since it is a group, we'll make a right click on it and click on Ungroup. It says that it is an imported picture, not a group. And do we want to convert it to Microsoft PowerPoint drawing object? We click on Yes. Again, we'll make a right click on it and click on Ungroup. This splits our vector into the subparts. We'll click outside the image and now click on any part of the image and it will be a separated part. For instance, we'll get rid of the background by pressing backspace and see our background image goes away, whereas our vector images are still there. For instance, we'll select this image, press Ctrl+C, open a new slide and press Ctrl+V. The sub part of our vector image has been included in our PowerPoint. Now we can recolor or resize any of the parts of the image by going to the Drawing Tools Format tab and selecting a color. And yes, we have done it. The only thing which we need to take care of while working with .emf files is that the white spaces we see are not blank. These are also part of the images. For instance, if I select this part and this blue part and resize it, and see, our white part has been left behind. So you must take care that even a tiny part of the vector must not be left behind. We'll go back by pressing Ctrl plus Z and select our whole of the part, group it, and then make it large. As you can see, our image looks much better. We'll go back by pressing Ctrl plus Z. We can also edit the text, its size, and the color. It has been included in our PowerPoint, and it is indeed a major tool in beautifying your slides. Congratulations for having learned that. We'll go on with our second project in lecture 3.5. I'll see you in the next lecture.